bellow on the bellow on the bellow. Bellow on the bellow on the bellow.
Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go. Hey.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You are back to the Real Shop Talk Experience. Tony Watts, how are you? I am at the helm today, so it's going to be crazy. The ride's going to be bumpy, so get your notepad out. Make sure you invite your +5. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, because we need these numbers to go up. But before we get into all of that, you know what the title of the show is if you're here, but how do men recover from a shattered heart? All right? I hear a lot of women talking about men don't hurt as much as women do. We're here to make that a nonsense claim. Also, Tony Massey right now is flying and being romantic with his wife. I'm not going to tell you the destination because y'all might be trying to look for him. John Singletary is out doing some things as well, handling some business. And before we do anything else, we got to give a mad shout out. I need you to get your pens and paper out right now. This is an important thing I'm about to show you. I need you to write this down. I need you to go right now, right this moment, all right? Log on, register, because you need to be a part of this event. So the OG, all right, Derek Jones is having a online fest of him talking about his crazy dating stories. I believe you will be able to share as well. He is doing some amazing things right now. He's got his online academy that's out of this world. His website is crazy. Hold on, let me go and let that scroll down at the bottom of the screen. This is why I told you go get your pen and paper, because you got to write this stuff down, or just we got quick typing fingers. Just type it in real quick, and make sure you register for everything that's there. Because, like I said, my man is doing some amazing things. He is our member for life. He knows it. We know it. He's out doing his adventures. Like, we grow and we do things. He's out doing his thing. So we support him for life. We love him to life. So make sure that you jump into this right now. This is going to be so dope. He's been talking about doing this for a minute. It's a live on Zoom call. You come in, hear his experiences, share your experiences. It's going to be amazing. I'll be there, so you better make sure you're there. I know Rick's going to be there. The team's going to be there, because that's how much we love, bro. All right? So we're gonna replay this back at the end of the show again, so you guys will remember again. But make sure you get this information down right now. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Write it down. Log on. Write it down. Get in there. You see the IG down there. You see the website down there. Get in there. Let's make it happen. I want whatever his numbers are right now. I need his numbers to go up tenfold today. All right? Let's make that happen. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's get back to it. Again, this particular show, we're going to talk about how do men recover from a shattered heart. So, Rick, before we get involved, you got some things going on. As they can see, like the people who's been here before and checked us out, they can see there's something different about your name underneath your underneath you. So could you please explain what all that means?
Yes. Guys, it is official. I am Gunta Man, motivational school speaker, as well as relationship life coach. It is official. My business is open to write those checks. I have a place now for God to write checks directly to bless me financially. So I'm looking forward to running free with this adventure, meaning that I'll start speaking in schools more frequently. I moved back to Mount Vernon. As you guys know a little bit of my story, I moved back to Mount Vernon to take care of my mom and dad. 15 years living in New Jersey. But if my heart is to share bits and pieces of my life to make the world a better place, and I'm not taking care of my own home, things have to change. So I knew that I had to give up that life in New Jersey to come back to Mount Vernon and take care of mom and dad throughout the week. And it's been amazing. God has found ways to keep me blessed exceedingly abundantly above all that I can ask or think. And part of the blessing was finally being able to have this business established. It is up and running. My website's being built right now because it's mainly geared towards schools. The website's built towards schools. So we're kind of trying my best to have everything narrowed down by the time September starts. So I look forward to joining you guys. People have already hit me up asking me to send information out to you. Trust me, I will be sending out that information. I'm also putting together a proposal to go nationally. So I'll be dealing with schools and kids, foundations all over the United States. So follow me, keep me in your prayers. Please, please, please keep me in your prayers, and let's see where this goes. All right. Enough about me. It's about you guys. Let's go.
Exactly. So let's just hop right into it. All right. If you're not following us already, realshoptalk.net gives you all of our information. You can pop in there, follow all of us on all of our social medias. The playground is the Real Shop Talk on IG. Make sure you go pop into there as well. Again, like I said, I hope you brought your +5 because what we're going to need you to, we need to get these subscription numbers up because the plans are crazy. You see, all of us are doing amazing things. Amazing things are happening. Amazing things are coming. So keep helping us push this information out forwards. Okay. All right. So, Rick, you ready, bro?
Yeah, man. I ain't got to get ready. Bro? I stay ready.
All right. So we're gonna jump right into it and ask the first question. The first question tonight is hardest breakup you've ever had.
Oh,
we're gonna circle all of this around.
All right, now, like we're deleting names, right? We're deleting names.
Listen. This is to protect the innocent. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
We're gonna make up fake names.
I'll start it off by saying this. I went through a divorce, which was one of the roughest things any person could ever go through. 13 years ago, separation, divorce. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's making the decision when you mess up in an area of your life. At least for myself, I look over my life and I say, what could I have done better? What could I have done different? And unless I'm pointing directly at me for these questions and what went wrong, blaming it on the other person isn't filled with power.
Right.
And Tony Watts and I was talking about the 5 stages of like recovery and stuff, trying to build yourself back up. And when I was reading through the list of things, you always start off like you want to be mad at the other person, but like you played a part. How are you gonna be mad when you played a part? Thankfully that the ex-wife and I we kept a friendship going. Years ago we didn't have it, but now we have a friendship, and that took work. It took trusting. It took us being able to talk back and forth. And I have to tell you that she took the initiative on it. She said, I lost a good friend. And that's the crazy thing about it. Think about how many relationships that you have been through and that you had breakups in where you realized that you went too far, where you could have just simply stayed friends and would have had like a really amazing person in your life, a real connection, a real builder. Go ahead.
So are you saying that's your hardest breakup, or are we leading to?
Okay. Well, it did. Well, it leads to the next one. Okay. The hardest breakup I would say would be the person that I used to date overseas. Okay. Because in my head, for the very first time, like I felt like head over heels in love. Oh my God, I can't get enough. That was crazy, because when you think you actually found it, like it's this.
Right. Right.
I tell you,
Tangible.
oh
Tasty.
wait, the power of the mind is
Woo!
ridiculous. And
Woo!
now I'm saying this because what? She was still legally married.
Ooh. Okay.
Like, like, yeah, like I actually believed that God will have someone that's already married to someone else for me. How
Wow.
does that work? But there was a separation. She wasn't with the person anymore. So you're separate, but you're still legally married. Now, I remember I posted about this maybe over a year ago, and people chimed in. Oh, my the guy who I'm married to now, he was still separated, and I was still. Trust me, there's always going to be exception to the rules.
Always.
There's always going to be exception to the rules, but typically, don't date someone that's still connected to someone else. Like, especially if you're someone that believes in your higher power, like you're going to actually believe that God, or whatever your higher power is, has a person that's already belonging to someone else for you. For myself, even though I didn't realize it till down the line, for myself, that was the roughest breakup. I'm talking tears, hanging with her, still crying, like,
Wow.
like
Wow.
ego, pride, vulnerability. I revealed it all. I did at this point, I just didn't care, because the real me needed to be seen. But then, like I said, but the power of the mind gets you back to thinking, like, what were you thinking, Rick?
What were you thinking?
Like, I shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Right.
I shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Right.
So what were you thinking, or what were you drinking, or what were you taking to get to the place in your mind that you actually believed this person was right for you?
No, the question that we need, the question that has to be asked is not what you're thinking, what were you feeling?
Well, yeah, that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Someone that I truly felt connected to, like, wanted so much more than just friendships, wanted so much more than just someone to hang out with, wanted so much more, like a life of connection and good vibes and energy. And she's Caribbean, I'm Caribbean, and we just kind of do things a little differently. I go to Trinidad a lot of times. Carnival is a big thing. Matter of fact, when you talked about being at Derek Jones' show on the 29th.
Right.
I won't be there. I leave Wednesday. I leave this Wednesday to go to Carnival in Toronto, Canada. So it was good to have that type of vibe and energy and connection with someone. It wasn't until these days now when I realized all the wonderfulness that I had in my marriage.
Okay.
Because when you look back, you're like, hindsight's 2020. If you would have put in the work, if you would have paid more attention, if you were real honest,
Well, I appreciate you going to where you just went to, because my current situation is the worst one I've ever had, right? Because like you said, when you realize, like, people have to understand, when you realize a lot of it's your fault, you know what I mean? When you do that work and find out it's your fault, like you are at fault, like a lot of the things that happened that the partner did was reactionary to what you did. That's hard, B. That's what makes it the hardest thing for me, because I'm like, yo, like I had, like, from the beginning, it was like Cinderella and Prince Charming. It was like just incredibly dope. It was like a dope thing. And Tony Watts and his ego and his desires and his playfulness and his everything else, like I just and to know, right? and know you were the catalyst of it all is a bigger problem. So let me ask you this next question right here.
Well, let me jump in. Let me jump in with more on this. You know, when you stop and you think about going through a divorce and then putting in the work to get to the place and space where you know that you're open enough to do a relationship right. The adversary knows you well. And he will absolutely present you with the things that you will believe is the best thing for you.
Right.
Because he watches. He can't play. You know, if you work the word, he doesn't have the ability to place thoughts in your mind, but via your five senses, he knows how he watches. He has his cohorts. That 1/3 of the archangels, who those 1/3 of the angels got kicked out of heaven with them, is his archangels, and he has them watching you. And if this is something that, look, if he could trip you up any way, any means necessary, but don't give him more credit than due. It's still your butt who did it. It's still you the one who decided. And even if the point I was trying to bring up, and even if when you stop and you look and say, well, no, in the relationship that I was in, I wasn't the initiator of these hardships. I was the one who said, well, name one relationship or one argument that we went through where I was the initiator of a problem going on between us. No, every time we got angry and how I responded to the things that you were doing. But guess what? I still shouldn't have been there. So I still was the initiator. I was the initiator of it all. Because you might think I'm such a good person. You're like, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Then it comes down to allowance. It comes down to allowance. What are you allowing in your life that you know isn't right? And I'll end it with this part. My dad had to call me. And he says, you know, his Jamaican accent, he says, son, I'm not your friend. I am not your friend. He says, show me in the Bible where what you're doing right now in this relationship is correct.
Wow.
He says, because if you marry that, I will not be at the wedding.
Wow.
Because he says, show me in the Bible where this is correct. Someone that's already married to someone else is right for my only son. My son. He says, you may never want to speak to me again, but my job is to protect my child. And if I see my child's going down the wrong path, I have to speak up. And that was the waker for me.
All right, before we answer the question about, you know, why was it the hardest, we kind of went over it. We kind of both went over it already. I'd like, you know, if you're out there in the audience, drop a comment. You know what I mean? Drop a comment in there. Tell us, you know, what was your hardest breakup. Tell us if you agree or disagree with what we're talking about. Ask a question. You know what I mean? Ask a question. Because we love the comments, so we're gonna get it popping. So we both already said how we understand what the why was, right? I know that my personal why was there's a lot of things I could have did to change it. I saw like there was a time that always sticks in my head. There was a shift, right? That she initiated, right? But she initiated because I was wrong. And what I did was my ego said, so what? And I just, where's she going? She loves me. You know what I mean? I'm Tony Watts. She loves me. Where's she going? So I just let it go. You know what I mean? And that opened up the floodgates for everything else to fall behind it. So when you take when you sit down and have great friends, right? Because I'm gonna tell you this real quick. My man, Sizemore, my best friend, I'm driving up from the city, and I've told the story before, and I'm complaining and da-da-da-da, and he turns to me and goes, "You're not innocent. You're filthy." Like, he was quiet the whole ride up and normally we talking. He's like, "You're not innocent. You're guilty. You are guilty." And he started going down a list of things, and I just sat there and I started bawling, dog. I started bawling. For the rest of the ride, I was quiet and he was chastising me. But, you know, when you have somebody who loves you like that, that's what needs to happen. So your father knocked on your door. He knocked on my door. You know what I mean? That's something that's crazy important.
Ooh,
Love Tucker
Love
says
Tucker.
break
Yes.
up. My hardest breakup was letting go of what I hoped my life would be and appreciating what it is. It is an ongoing thing. Absolutely. I guess the hardest breakup. Other thing is, I guess the hardest breakup is with the expectation thought up in your head, and I'm glad I'm glad she brought that up because what you did and what a lot of people do, right, in relationships. So we're going to veer just a tiny bit to the left, right? What we do is what we see these things because of our feelings. We create this incredible scenery of what might be. And that becomes our reality. No matter what we see in front of us, all the red flags, cars running by, don't cross the street. We playing peekaboo with the red flags.
Yeah, no. The red flags were checkered flags.
Right.
And we were just like, it still go.
It still go. Right. It still go. It still go. And
No, the race is over. No, I'm
right.
gonna still go. I'm gonna still go.
Right. And Lisa, what does Lisa say? Lisa says, my hardest was with someone who was amazing, but he was too young and chopped. Okay, whoa, wow, that's a whole different conversation right there. I know he could not give me wow. I knew he could not give me a child. Wow, that's woo.
Yeah, I couldn't give him a child. Correct.
Right. Woo.
You know, there is something real, even though we partly do agree that age is just a number.
Right.
But the truth is, if you remove just 10-year, that 10-year gap, you're dating someone 10-year younger than you, typically, unless you're talking you're much older, you know. If you're 60 dating someone 50, you're kind of the ratio gets smaller. But you know, if you're 45 dating a 30-year-old,
right,
that's a gap. That person is in a completely different place in life.
Right.
They are typically not. I'm not speaking for everyone, but typically the conversation won't be the same. What they understand about life and what you understand about life, your words, you ain't no way you can convince them that you see it clearer because they haven't lived enough to see it clearer. Generally speaking, some kids and some people have been through the ringer and they've seen enough life that they can make more grown decisions because of what they've been through. But typically speaking, that 10-year gap of age difference, that's a rough one. And then you have the cultural thing where typically the man is older than the woman. And then that age gap, now if he's younger than you, now you now struggling with the culture thing going back.
All right, bro. We bury it. All right, because we can go in 1,000 different directions and miss these 18,000 questions we got. But what I got on the screen right now, who initiated the breakup, and what was the cause?
I initiated the breakup. And the cause was we were at a place where someone who she evidently had an interest in and didn't want them to see how significant I was to them. I kind of remember if we never really had a conversation, you kind of just guessing at was, and she passed me straight. Yeah.
Wait, time out. You was both in an environment.
We're in an environment. She coming out of work. I'm at the car waiting for her. The person that I know she has a bit of an interest in, was standing in the parking lot with us. Instead of typically coming down and normally greeting me like she normally do, she walked straight past me and got into the car. I'm like,
is that what we doing?
That was it.
You doing?
By the time we halfway pulled out the driveway, I said, it's over. It's over.
So she walked right past you and just jumped into the car that you guys are driving. Okay,
correct.
So she did not acknowledge you at all. So you to the onlooker, you were Uber.
But Uber wasn't even around yet, I guess.
Right. That must be her chauffeur. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy.
But look, once again, I would love to put elements on this on her.
Right.
None of it is
None
her.
of it. None of it.
None. When I say none,
Right.
zero. None of it is her. It was all me.
Yeah. Mommy
What
told
was
you.
I doing there?
What
What was I doing there?
Right. Right. Snuck out the window. You snuck out the window and went to the house party you was told not to go to. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I fully understand and appreciate that. Yeah. Absolutely. So, I guess on my situation, was initiated by her, but I guess it was just being tired. You know what I mean? Being tired of because I'm an a-hole. You know what I mean? I get stuck in my ways, and there's some things that happen. There's some things I wanted to be said and reciprocated to me that was never done. But so I was in a, like, I can't say she didn't try, right? Like, for me to say she didn't try, but it wasn't tried the way I wanted to be tried. So I stuck to my, hey, can we go out this Saturday, take the kids, blah, blah, blah. I think about it. I think, you know what I mean? No, I'm not going. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So at some point, when you don't have the help that you need, check out. And so again, like you said, I can't fault that person, because instead of sitting down and go, this is what I need, this is what happened, blah, 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 I checked out. I checked out for a long time. So
yeah, and like I said, when I say, I could laugh about it now in some sense, because your mind will still try to run to a place where the other person's at fault, even this far removed from it. But when you're real honest with yourself, about 85% of the things that you have as a heartache in your life are caused by you.
That's right.
By you and your decisions. 85%. Right. You might want to blame the other person, but in truth, it's you.
That's right.
It's you.
That's right.
Because I remember having planted those seeds of whatever I thought was going on with her behind the scenes. And then I started getting jealous. And jealous is what? Trying to control things.
Right.
Jealousy is you trying to control things. And I would have anger. I would tell her all about herself. This bubbly Ricky wasn't bubbly anymore. You can scroll through all these things that I was doing that was magical and amazing. And then you treat someone poorly that's actually endeavoring to try to love you to the best of their ability. They will scroll to the bottom of all that good things you did and hit delete quickly.
Right. Exactly.
Because so people will never forget how you made them feel.
Right. Exactly. Yolanda McCoy puts it, my hardest breakup was initiated by me with someone I loved very deeply. Unfortunately, he did not respect or even consider my feelings at the time. Woo! Love Tucker follows up. I always initiate the breakups. Knowing Love Tucker, I can understand. It's always a reaction to not getting my needs met. She agrees with Yolanda. So, yeah, that's... So let's get back on task here. How did you process through the 5 stages of grief? We kind of talked about it earlier. So the 5 stages of grief is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. What a lot of people don't understand about the 5 stages of grief is that they don't go in order. You arrive at them when you arrive at them, right? You might not be at the denial phase first. You might be in the depression stage first, and then come to the denial. But I want to say this though: you will go through. If you go through acceptance, like you go directly to acceptance, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to go through the other 4. You're fooling yourself. Like a lot of people go, yeah, I broke up with her. I'm good. I'm good. It's over. I'm good. You don't call. You don't. But in your heart, you're dealing with all these other emotions that you haven't figured out how to deal with. So you have to deal with the denial, processing a loss that can bring various emotions that's very difficult to accept. When you get angry, like you already talked about, I'm glad you brought it up. There's rage in there. There's outbursts. There's extreme sadness. There's isolation. Like when I was going through my anger stage, I was all over the place. And God forbid if you was outside the street when I was out there. Woo! Woo! Ugly. Then there's always the bargaining. You know, you're always trying to figure out how do we get this back to what it was. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, babe. You can't do that. You can't do that. And then the depression. And what I like any man that's listening to this, because women have a good, I don't say they have a better way. They're taught early how to process their feelings, right? So it's easier for them to navigate through depression because they have a support system. I'm not saying it's not as rough as it is for a man, but when you have an outlet, you might be depressed, but you have an outlet to go. Men, like it took me a while to figure out I was depressed. I did not know I was depressed. I had no idea I was depressed. And how I figured out I was depressed is I saw something I think I was watching YouTube, and I saw something on YouTube, signs of depression. And I was like, it was like 10 to 12 things. I hit every last one of them. Yeah. So at that point, I made a phone call to my, because I was working for Coke at the time. I made a phone call to my insurance company. I was like, you have mental health, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah. I said, I need to see somebody. So that's when I started. That's when I started on my journey. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, I knew that I was going through depression because I got to the weight of close to 250 plus pounds.
Woo! Listen. That don't stop. That question's coming up. Okay.
But we're talking about depression. That's how I was. Because how do you go with typically taking on my day with I'm cheery and bouncy and I'm dealing with things, but then I stop wanting to go outside.
Right.
You know, and I think I went through more of a depression through my divorce than I did with my last breakup, because the depression was like you failed. You constantly failed. And it's not so much like you're thinking about and what harm you've done to the other person. You're simply caught in like, I failed. How am I successful in business? How am I so close to mom and dad and my sisters? I'm there for my nieces and my nephews and all this stuff. But in marriage, you handled it poorly. Like
disgusting.
Yeah. You know, so you get caught with the fail, but what about the other person and what you did to them and what you denied them and what you forget about all that stuff. So when I went through like my depression, it was just like, I didn't want to do anything. So people to this day ask, hey, you know, the latest things going on in TV. Hey, have you heard the news on this? I'm like, I don't watch TV anymore because those years that I went through depression, I watched enough TV for a lifetime. So I don't watch TV. You see that right there? I have no cable.
Right.
You could only stream stuff on that thing. There is no I watch no TV. People are like, hey, you seen this latest thing, The Power, or what's that other thing with the dragons and all that stuff? Game of Thrones and all. I'm like, none of it. Yeah. Because I'd rather be outside than sitting inside watching TV. I'd rather be outside doing some crazy adventure on somebody's plane going somewhere.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I've consumed so much television, it's retarded. But the reason why I consume so much television is because I'm a movie buff, right? I like storylines. I like the crafting of the story. I like characters. So that allowed me to get into those things and hide. You know what I mean? Like, so when you're in the depression thing,
distractions. You're saying distractions.
Exactly.
Binge watching distractions. That's what it is.
Exactly. And you just find yourself like, why can't I get up and go nowhere and do anything? Oh, so let me go watch this 18-hour series of nothingness that mean nothing to me. Because it's basically playing in the background while you're fiddling and doing all kinds of other things. But you're like, oh, did you see the series? Yeah, I watched the whole thing. Yeah, you missed like 18, like eight episodes.
Yeah.
Because you really wasn't paying attention. Absolutely. So, being that we just talked about the stages of the 5 stages of grief, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about it earlier backstage that you didn't really know these things, right? So, knowing them now, which one do you think you spent the most time in?
Depression,
right? Equal.
Yeah. Depression. Like when it comes to performing, I'm super confident when it comes to that. So to fail, in every area of my work life, I became almost in every phase of it in my work. I became the golden rule, or I changed the industry to allow it to be some next level thing.
Right.
Like I've always had the ability to take whatever I'm doing and reach this new height with it. So failing at something and taking someone down with me, that was a weight that I wasn't able to carry. And then when I started to search sources outside of my normal sources, which was reading books and talking to friends and having my buddy like Wayne Corn and his wife, Janine Handy Corn now, talking to me about these relationships. And I was able to tell them everything, all the crap, everything. I was able to offload it all.
Yes.
And they still love me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's where freedom came.
That's beautiful.
That's where freedom started to come, where you can tell your whole truth, not hiding any bit of it. None. Zero hiding. You can know the nooks and cranny. I masturbated instead of doing this YD, and my wife's right there, and I'd rather masturbate. I mean, I'm telling them everything.
Wow.
Because there's freedom of that. Because if you think from some moment that you are the only person to have gone through and to do the things that no, you're not alone.
Yeah,
you're not alone.
And what Lisa was writing here is pretty powerful because the gym and church, and I like the way she said she went to church and any other church she could find after the service was over in the same day.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause right here for a second just to say this. We have to get to a point where we understand that mental health is so important because we're chasing things, especially people that go to church. And I try to make this point as often as possible. We are dealing with traumas. We're dealing with situations that God can't heal because we haven't faced. So we mask it with, I went to church today, right? And one of the recovery things from trauma is movement, right? So if you come to church and you shout, you clap your hands, that is a temporary high. That's not dealing with the problem. So you're going to get the problem later on during the week and wonder why I keep having this continuously bumping my head against the wall because I haven't released what I need to release it. Like the Bible says, you overcome by the testimony, by my testimonies I overcome. Testimonies are confession. Your friends gave you the opportunity to confess all of it. You got to get it all out, right? You don't need a priest to confess. You don't. If you're Catholic, I apologize, but that's the release of the things that you go through. And like I said, my best friend Amin Sizemore, pick up the phone anytime and dump, right? And that would make things a lot more successful because once you dump it, you get rid of shame, right? Because the shame is the reason why you're not talking. I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to tell nobody this. I'm perfect. I'm happy. I'm go-lucky. I'm cheerful. I'm Tony Watts. If you don't get that shame off your back and release it, you will be stuck in a situation where you can't move. Yeah. So that's amazing.
And to be truthful, T. Watts, is the fact that if you don't share it, you're bound to repeat it. But you're bound because no one's gonna check you on. You need someone to check you on stuff. The word of God is for doctrine, reproof, and correction.
Right.
2/3 of it is correcting you back to the doctrine.
Right.
We are bound to mess up on things. And if you're not willing to share it and say it out loud, you're not going to get the help. You're not going to get the help.
Going to get the help because you can't figure it out by yourself.
You can't look inside yourself and say, this is no, you need
Right.
other people giving their opinion, wise counsel. Not
Right.
people that don't care about you. You're not talking about those people. You're not just spilling out your stuff to anyone.
Right.
You're sharing yourself with people that you know genuinely care about you and will tell you about you.
Yeah. Like, because when people tell me, "Oh, I'm doing self work," and I go, "What does that look like?" I'm looking within myself to fix myself. I go, "How do you do that? You're the broken thing. How does the broken thing fix the broken thing when you don't know what the broken thing is?" Like,
yeah,
you have to. This is why the statement, "It takes a village." It's not only takes a village to raise a child; it takes a village to navigate who we are as human beings. There's an African proverb that says, this young man did something wrong. And instead of the men in the village condemning for what he did wrong, they surrounded him and told him all the things he was powerful in doing. Right? If you don't have that, you can't find the nooks and crannies that's wrong. Like, if you didn't have the people that you had to share with, and for them to turn around and say to you, "Hey, Rick, here's where your blind spots are. Here's where you're wrong." You can't do that by yourself.
I use the example of you're standing in the picture. You're in the picture. You need to back up you need to be able to get out. You're inside the picture frame. You can't see all that's going on. You're inside the picture frame. You need people outside of that picture that can allow you to see what you're actually doing. And when you can step that far back based on the things and perspectives that they share, now you're like, oh, right.
Right. Exactly.
You're in the picture. You're too close. You can't see.
Right. Can't see.
We have this unbelievable habit of always seeing that we're good people. We keep seeing ourselves as good people when we look at the things that you have done. No, it wasn't good. That saying that, God is good. And when we say all the time, God is good. God is good, but I ain't always good.
Listen, and I'm glad you said that as well. People always go with that whole "I'm good" thing, right? And I'm always like, wait, time out. There's a person that came to Jesus and said, "Good master." And Jesus said, the perfect being on the planet, "There's no one good but God." He says, "Why do you call me good? There's no one good but God." So what makes us think we're good? Right? We do these things and we want to blame people for all the things that they've done, not realizing that we either allowed it, we perpetuated it. There's so many things that we were involved in for this thing to happen. Wherever you are in life right now, you made the decisions to get there. I don't care if somebody tricked you the whole way. It was your decision to get there.
Yes.
You made the decision.
Right. You are where you are today because of your believing. You will be tomorrow where your believing takes you. No one rises above that which they believe, and no one can believe something that they don't understand.
Right.
So to the best of your ability, we will continue to make choices, and we have to live in the choices that we make. We have to live in it. Your life is a reflection of the choices you have made. Yep. If there's areas of your life that you don't like or see it's lacking, 85% of the chance it's you. Yep. Now that doesn't knock down trauma. That you've been through some stuff. I'm not talking, you're not knocking that stuff. No. But the trauma itself caused you to believe a particular thing about you, develop an insecurity about you, develop a fear about this particular thing or particular things in life, and you made choices. Still came back down to you.
Still came back down to you. Absolutely. So here's the big question, Rick. So
go ahead.
Behaviors? So did you engage in toxic behaviors?
Yeah, when I was jealous, rage, anger, speaking harshly. Yeah, like this Mr. Bubbly. Nope, because it was all about trust, no longer trusting. So now you're trying to force.
Right.
No longer trusting.
Right.
Now you're trying to force.
Yep.
She did something to break my trust. From that point on, the relationship was done.
But
It was done. It was done. So then it was just anger and lacking trust. Anger, and now you're picking at things.
Every little
yelling rages and pushing doors open. You know, never touching anybody. No, I don't. I'll never get to that point to hit somebody.
Yeah.
No, not me. But yeah, jealous outbursts to try to control the situation, but no control at all. That's just simply proving that you don't have control.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
but I did. How about you?
Drinking, you name it, I did it. I was toxic across the board on a daily basis. I woke up every day and chose violence. Every day I woke up, I chose violence. Every single day, I chose violence. Willingly, couldn't wait till it happens. Where we going this weekend? What? Wednesday night, there's a spot, let's go. Violence.
Right.
You know, every chance I got, I chose to do something to get inebriated, to get my knuckles dirty. What, somebody said comments?
She's a love tuck. Yeah, she said, "I can't imagine."
Well,
I can absolutely see Tony choosing violence.
But so Love Tugger, let me just put it this way: Rick can get to violence. I've seen Rick be different.
See, like I said, I describe it this as bubbly as I am about life. Do me wrong. That same energy to that same level of bubbliness goes the opposite direction.
Yep.
Goes the opposite direction. But understand this also, it's super rare. It's super rare to get me that angry. But it's true. Yes, that was me. Me. But then once again, I put myself in situations that wasn't right for me. So who had the puppet strings at that point? I handed the full reins over to the world to lead me, to sway me, to conform me, and to throw me left and right and whatever. Where I thought that I had the power to make a particular thing happen, where you don't have that type of power when you're not in fellowship, when you're not in alignment. Get in alignment and watch what you can do. Stay in alignment and watch what you can do. And that's you means that you and God is the you.
That's right.
Is the you. But you by yourself, nah. You are not your sufficiency. You are not able to meet your own needs. Nope. That has to come from a source higher than you.
Right, exactly. So, and I already know the answer to this, but we're gonna put it.
Oh, somebody says I'm the same.
That's my little sister.
What was she saying? Same about what? Being angry?
Phony, tell us what you were saying the same for. Being angry, or you chose violence.
or you're the bubbly, to the extreme of being bubbly. But if someone do you wrong, you're just the extreme of the other way with that same amount of intensity.
She's pretty bubbly.
You know what I've learned about men. We men who haven't been taught that we can tap into so many more emotions is that oftentimes our anger is simply us saying that we're afraid.
When she gets angry, her ears no longer work.
My ears no longer work.
I choose violence now.
Yeah. But what I was saying about anger, anger oftentimes for us men, because we don't know about all these other emotions, anger sometimes is just simply saying, I'm afraid.
Right.
I'm fearful.
Absolutely.
I'm fearful about a particular thing.
Yeah.
I'm scared to go down or to hand you my heart after it's been beat up so many times. To say that and for a woman to hear it, she don't because she has the ability to offload her emotions culturally, not maybe the person themselves, but culturally have a place where you can vent. unlike guys typically who don't have places to vent, for us to tell you that we're afraid of something is huge, but you won't be able to see it that way.
And the bigger problem is when you're in these situations where the breakup is happening, they're not even trying to hit. They don't care about you being sorry and hurt and you feeling the way you feel. They're not trying to accept that at that particular point, because you've driven them to a place where they don't care. So how are you saying now that I'm fearful, I'm afraid, this is why I'm angry? They're not trying to hear that. That sounds like game at that point. That just sounds like game. Oh, you're trying to manipulate me now. Why didn't you say this a long time ago?
Yep.
All the other times you were throwing the dishes around the house and kicking over the furniture. Why didn't you tell me that you was afraid then? I'm not trying to hear it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why one of the things that I truly believe in, ladies, if you don't have it, I'm gonna say this again. I said this a couple of weeks ago. Make sure you get the emotional wheel and ask the young man or man in your life how many emotions can he name, right? And then if you only name a couple, then tell him, show him what the emotions are, show him what the emotion
chart
flows out to, and say, I am now giving you the ability to express all of these emotions freely, and I will never judge you all. You understand how freeing that is?
Well, yeah. First, he has to tap into it and understand what those hits. They have to become a reality to him. Like, it's hard for them just to say, because I've been living this way for so long. Showing me is a start, but now I have to be able to better understand what it is. I love Tucker. I match. I'm matching energy. I can do anything you can do better. I can do anything better than you. Yes. Yeah.
You're singing crazy songs for it. Hilarious. So the question on the table now is, have you had the opportunity to apologize?
Apologize to my ex-wife. Yeah, I believe I apologized to her. Yes.
Right.
To my ex, the one I feel shattered, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, because we don't speak at all. And probably the only few times we've ever spoke was when her daughter was doing something, and I made sure, I hooked them up or whatever the case may be, or she was coming to America and I made sure that certain things took place. But have a conversation about us, no. I remember explaining to maybe I'm wrong with this. Maybe I do remember having the conversation with her about I shouldn't have been there in the first place. So maybe I did, because it's some years now. So I'm got to try to pull back and remember, because that ended about 8 years ago.
I would consider that an apology.
So
I would consider that an apology. You're saying I shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Yep, shouldn't have been in the first place.
I consider that an apology.
Lord knows they didn't make her any happier.
Yeah, it's not. It's not about, the apology is really not about them. It's about you freeing yourself from what you're holding on to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I definitely apologize. I was like, I was like, listen, I no longer hold you accountable for anything that you've done. Because if we go back to when everything began happening, right, I was the catalyst. Everything you did was reactionary. So I hold you accountable for nothing. She laughed at me. She didn't believe me, but I was free. It helped me in my process because I was free. You know what I mean? I told my truth. So, and I think that's very important, that we come to a space where acceptance, I think apologies are part of the acceptance. Even if, hear this clearly. I want everybody in the audience to hear this clearly. Even if the apology is to yourself. Acceptance and apologizing to yourself is so important, because now you're freeing yourself for what you saw, what you ignored, for what you did that you didn't take responsibility for when it was going on, right? For what you allowed just because you were getting a benefit from it. You know what I mean? So when you turn around and say, I'm going to forgive myself for these things. I repent, I apologize. It's so freeing. It's so amazingly freeing. So that's very important. So as we begin to wind down, what was your process for healing?
I touched on it a little bit. I went to sources outside of my normal sources, which was I can keep talking to my friends or acquaintances, very close acquaintances, and I will just still become who I am already, because all the books that I've read in the past, all the movies I've watched, the things I experienced in life, all that stuff has made me me. So I had to go to sources outside. So my first thing was that I had to read a book that I wasn't familiar with, which was Rick Warren's Purpose Driven Life.
Okay.
Then my next book that I read was called Love Dare. And Love Dare is just 40 days of acts, doing an act each day for 40 days straight to give you an example of what love is. Because if I messed up in loving, I wanted to have clear examples of what actual love is.
Right.
Then part of it was revealing all the things that I was feeling to my two friends. And this is what I was going through. This is what you've seen, being able to have them check me on that stuff. And then I went to researching on understanding what love is. I wanted to understand what human habit is, what we be because of people being a Black person. I wanted to understand ethnic and cultural norms. And that's who knew that this Gunter Man was being formed, because I wanted to know. My healing process was to start having answers that I can actually look to and see, not just guessing I'm feeling better or being filled with dopamine by distractions. No, we're talking about actual, like, that's why I did it, why I did what I did, why I felt the way I felt, why I responded the way I responded, why did I think the way I thought. All that stuff had to be answered, because if you're not answering those things, you're fooling yourself. You'll never take on a relationship any differently. You will not heal.
Right.
You know, so when I sit with my clients, I'm like, look, understand this. You might want to talk about them, but the biggest relationship that you're having a problem with is a relationship with you.
Right.
And talking to me is just going to allow you to put your thoughts into sentences so someone else can hear you make sense of what you actually been through. And that has a healing element all by itself. That you being able to say it out loud. I'm like, mind you, you're going to be laughing at yourself by the time we enter one session, two sessions, because you're going to tell me what it is, and I'm going to tell you what it really is.
Right. And what's freeing is, I believe, is when you have somebody and they say something so confidently, and and you go, I want you to say that again, and I want you to listen to yourself say it. When they finish, go, so what did you think you just said? I really didn't say anything. Exactly. You haven't dug deep enough yet. You're not dealing with the situation. You're not where you need to be at. And once you get a person to be able to navigate what the process of healing is and what it looks like, because for me, I didn't read any books different. I did a lot of poetry work, tons of poetry. I did so much poetry. I started my own open mic series. I had like 4 of them, very successful, each and every one of them. But the other thing was I put myself in therapy. You know what I mean? Put myself in therapy, and I would go and I would talk things out, and I'd come back and go, so I heard this and now I understand. So I did the work to get to where I needed to be, right? Yes. And I felt and I found that the depression lifted, and just one day I was just walking down the street smiling. I'm like, wait, what's that wrinkle? What's these dimples here for without a frown? Like,
or a scowl.
Like, just what? Hey, Tony, why are you so happy? You see happy? It was because now you're getting back to who you are. You're getting back to yourself because you're processing things the correct way, and I think that is very vitally important. So,
and I also too did 9 weeks with a life coach. I did 9 weeks of, like, she was asking questions and I was like, ouch.
You know, I was an actual therapist, so I needed a lot of because when you begin to do that deep work, right? There's a different element that you have to tap into because there's some whys. How did I get here?
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Why am I stuck here?
Yeah, the
Why am I
seven time
stuck?
why. The seven
Right,
times why. You got to keep
right,
backing it up.
right. Keep digging it and
And if
digging.
that last why don't make you cry, you ain't digging deep
You ain't
enough.
there yet. You ain't there yet.
yet.
You ain't there yet. You know what I mean? So it's been many sessions, like it's 2 or 3 weeks of the whys, and to have the person turn around to you and be like, "We're not done." I'm like, what are you talking about? Done? I told you everything. You told me nothing.
Nothing.
You told me
Surface stuff.
all surface stuff.
All surface stuff.
And one of the things in healing, right, that we have to understand, and I want people to understand this, therapists and life coaches, right, will put you through acting classes, right, because what it does is it gives you the ability to put on an emotion
Yes.
that you haven't realized that you need to deal with. So they put you into another character that has the emotion that you should have, that you should wrestle with, and then also you find out like, wow, this is how I feel. But until they put you in that situation, you don't know it. So one of the beautiful things about the Full Circle Ensemble is my acting coach and poetry coach, Shalisi, he would make you get to a point and sit in it. All the emotions you're feeling right now, sit in it. Don't leave it. Everything you're feeling, let it flow through you. I'm not giving you a pen. I'm not giving you a paper. Let it flow through you. And then he gives you the pad, and then you write it out. I know he gave us an assignment once, and one day I'll share the poem. And I went home, the assignment, and I wrote it out in the emotions. And I came back, and I had practiced this poem for a whole week. But when I began to read it, each word was a tear. So I was just like, everybody was around me holding me because I was just sobbing like a child. Because it pulled everything out of me. It pulled everything out of me. So there's a lot of different ways to do healing work. And we have to understand it's the word you have to understand is the 4-letter word I said, work. You're not prepared to do this work, you're fooling yourself. And you're hurting yourself.
Right. And it's not just simply work, it's consistent work.
Consistent work.
You know, remember, always I tell people this: faithfulness gets you to the place where you'll actually do a thing. That's faithfulness.
Right.
But consistency will give you the results of the thing that you're endeavoring to get. You know, like God says, above all things, get understanding. Right. Understanding is the right application of wisdom and getting the result. Understanding is you see the baby, you see the results of your hard work. Knowing isn't half the battle. That's just the beginning. Now, applied knowledge, that's what wisdom is. Applied knowledge. Now, the right application of wisdom gives you understanding. That's when you get to that understanding, that's where it is. So you can say, okay, I want to take on this new thing, but you got to be fully invested, consistent with it.
Yeah, fully invested.
In order for you to really see.
All right, let's hit this one. When did you know you were healed?
I think my family was able to see it first. They saw my body language. They saw a genuine, my son, my brother is back.
Right.
So they saw it because I was already manifesting these things, but I'm still doing the work. So I'm not really fully realizing that I'm living in this state because I'm getting used to living this way. So I think my younger sister saw it first, and then my mom.
Okay.
And then the rest of the family, of course, said, hey, you know, this XYZ, ZYX. Because if you think that the people nearest to you can't see what you've been through, You're fooling yourself. People know your business.
You can't hide that. You can't hide that. There's no way you can hide that.
You can't. The little cues will always pop up, and they will be they would know it's like that's not him. That's not my brother. That's not my brother. Something's going on.
Yep. So for me, I'm still in the healing process.
Yes.
I would say.
I'm glad you said that.
I would say I'm 93% there. I'm at the 93% mark. I'd say about 93% mark.
It takes years, bro. It typically takes years.
It's not. It's a continuous work thing. Yeah. So when I know I was in a mess of trouble, now my godfather knows me probably better than most people on the planet, and Amin as well know me as more than anybody on the planet, because these are two people I dump everything. I dump everything on, right? So I go to church to meet my godfather. He's the bishop of my church. He's my godfather. So we're just kicking it. I'm thinking I'm Tony Watts. I'm thinking where I'm supposed to be at. And he's sitting there and he's listening to me, and he puts his head down and goes, I miss him. I go, miss who? He said, Tony Watts. I said, you miss who? He said, Tony Watts. I said, I'm right here, Pops. He's like, I don't know who that is right there. I have no idea who that person is. I have no idea who that person is. It's not you. Go find you, right? Same week, 3 days later, me and Amin is out driving uptown. He's quiet. And I'm like, yo, bro, what's going on? He says the same exact words. I miss him. And I was like, who? He's like, Tony Watts. I said, bro, I'm right here. He's like, nah, B, you ain't been here for a long time. He said, I don't know who you think you're living with, but that person right here sitting next to me, that's a chameleon. I have no idea who that is. That is not Tony Watts. And that's when he signed me up for Momentum. He gave me Momentum as a present.
Yo, Momentum Education.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Kudos.
Woo!
You don't want to start with a life coach. Take the workshop, over the weekend workshop with Momentum Education.
Yeah.
All the things you thought you were.
Woo! 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 So
yeah. What we're saying here is that we've been through it and we're going through it. Since we're saying we, you have to be willing to do the work. And do the work means what? What does that mean to you? Start searching for answers. And searching for answers, you can't look inside yourself. Now, when you say look inside yourself, you could ask yourself the whys and dig and look through why you did the things you did. That's okay. But to be able to really start thinking differently, you need other people to hear the things that are coming out your mouth. Right. You need someone who has the training and understanding to hear the words that are coming out of your mouth so we can say it back to you so you can hear what you're saying. That's what we're good at. That's what we're good at. We have done the work, and none of it is judging you. Zero. Nope, because the difference between a therapist and a life coach, I can tell you all my business.
Right.
I can tell you all the dirt that I've done. So when I'm sharing stuff with you, I ain't judging you at all.
Nope.
I've been there, done that 10 times.
That's right.
And this has always been the outcome. Not saying that yours is always going to be the same as mine, but at least you're opening yourself to different perspectives. And when you hear different perspectives, you realize how much that you have an opinion on could possibly be changed.
Yeah.
Could possibly be seen in a different way. T. Watts.
Just real quick, could you tell her how long this has been going on?
Did she say that again?
She loved Tucker's comment.
Oh, I still bugged it when Tony's. I'm still bugging more calls Tony. Oh yeah. Tony Watts. Yes, I'm just reading the whole thing. Yes, since high school, he's always been. See, when you're hearing his story, and when he says in his stories throughout the whole show, he kept saying, "I'm Tony Watts." You guys, unless you know him from hometown, Tony Watts is Tony Watts. Tony Watts was super duper popular growing up. super duper popular. So you call the popular people by their full name. You never call him Tony. No, he is Tony Watts. Put an S on the end of my name.
Damn it. Damn
That's
it.
it.
Yeah. So let's get into this. I think these last two questions after this question is pretty pertinent and important. Now that we've been through what we've been through, how do you see a family member go through rough breakups? Like what have you seen the effect of them?
Now, have you seen family? Oh, family members. No, not from up close. Not up close. I know, like, for my sister, she actually moved away. She moved from the close quarters we're here. She was in New Jersey, and she went chasing after the Word of God in Missouri, International House of Prayer. But my sister was real secretive, so my younger sister and I never really knew what she was actually going through. And it's only recent times, thank God for COVID. Can you actually say that? Yeah. Thank God for COVID. The three of us, we have a chat where it's just us three. And we talk. When I say every day we chat. Nice. Every day. And now we get to see my sister acting happy. She's remarried now, just recently got remarried. Nice. And we get to journey with her. And we will constantly say, we get to see you in a way we've never seen you. We've never seen you like this. We have no clue what this is like. Right. So what you went through, you did it all by yourself, unless you went to other people outside of us as being family members, but we're super close. How you're not going to tell us, but maybe that's things she had to work on. But now it's like a whole new different thing. So as far as breakup, it's only my older sister that I can think of a breakup, but that was still from a distance. Right. What I would typically do is friends. I know friends that have been through stuff. Yeah. And thank God I went through what I went through, and I put in the work, because I was able just to share perspectives that was allowing them to just hang on to some level of hope or understanding and the newness of what they were dealing with. Right. Same. Yeah, like this show is therapeutic. This show.
Listen. I tell people all the time, as terrible as 2020 was for this pandemic, I think it's God's way of slowing us all down to see ourselves. He's slowing us all down to stop. God was like, stop. Because my relationship that I thought I had with God was not there. It was not there at all. Like I was really playing. I was really just, checking the boxes. I went
play with God.
Yeah, I went to church today. I said my prayers for 2 seconds. I was so it gave me an opportunity to really get into a different space, right? And then the ideas for creating a podcast came up, and whenever you see me on a platform, I'm in session. This is session. This is a session for me. This is like all the platforms you see me on: Morning Wake Up, Triumphant TV. Here, this is a session for me. I am giving and I am receiving at the same time. Amen. Right? If I didn't have these outlets, I don't know where I'd be. Yeah. I have no idea where I would be, because I need this. I need this energy to flow both ways for
yes. Yes.
That's an absolute.
Never get to the place and space where you think that you know it all.
You can't. There's too much information out there.
Way too much information.
Too much information out there. If we just and what I'd like to put out there, like I don't know if most people understand this, right? So me having certifications in life coaching, relationship coaching, NLP practitioner. There's some other things that I'm dabbling in. With all that information, and I keep studying every day. I'm reading something. I'm somewhere learning more information. I still know nothing. In the grand scheme of the depths that we have to go into, I still know nothing. So hear me all the time, like the book What Happened to You, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, The Body Keeps Score. I read those a few months ago, right? But the impact, like I had no idea that trauma, right? Verbal trauma has the same impact as you getting hit by a truck.
Yeah. You know, that whole sticks and stones may break my
Right.
bones, but names that never hurt me. No,
Right.
they will absolutely rip you to shreds.
It will absolutely destroy you. See, and I think when we were giving those signs, that saying, right? They meant the people who we don't know, because we shouldn't let the people who do not love and care for us affect us.
Correct.
Right? So, but we don't understand the people who loved, supposed to love us, was doing the most damage.
Damage, yes. Yes.
So when you go sticks and stones make break my bones, but names will never hurt me, you're the one with the name that's beating me to death. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, it's people. It's people, you know, like people that matter most to us is the ones that can hurt us the most. You know, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this question before we get to the last one, what's the cultural aspect of men, right? Just to skim over the question. Try to come.
Yeah, it's the mindset. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't know you was finished. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Just you know, I know you're going with it because this is your question. How are we being culturally taught as men how to deal with our emotions?
Get under someone quick. Get on top of someone quick.
Yep. Yep.
You know, just move on to the next one. There's plenty of fish in the sea. But no, I'm the common denominator. I'm going to be in the next relationship. I'm the common denominator. When I look through all my past relationships, I am the common denominator of why those situations didn't work out, or why did I get involved with the situation when I shouldn't have gotten involved with the situation.
Right.
You know, so these are some of the things that culture takes. Like, you know, just move on to the next one. Yeah. Soil your roll oats. How they go? How that saying goes? Soil your roll oats. Yeah, but none of that. But that doesn't teach you anything. That doesn't teach you how to work through problems. That doesn't teach you to have a discussion. Doesn't teach you about being vulnerable and the benefits of telling your feelings, your actual feelings, to another person and not being afraid of that. Like, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
You know, to the people today, if you are not searching for some type of mental health wellness, you're going to continue to keep reaping what you sow. You might want to continue to blame it. Oh, there's no good guys out there. Oh, there's no real women out there. No, you are the common denominator. It all starts and ends with you.
Right.
You know, even the simple things about culture and men, and being, especially black men, you know, boys don't cry.
Retarded.
You mean, what am I doing with all these emotions that I feel?
Right.
No, that does we don't. Men don't feel that. No. It has jacked up our from generation to generation to generation. Keep on.
That's why we die. That's why we die faster than anybody else. Holding in all these emotions that we were never able to.
And you think that the age rate for Black Americans to commit suicide is 17.
Ooh. Yeah.
That means you have seen so much by the age of 17 that you think that living
it's not worth it.
Not worth it.
Right. It's not worth it.
You know, the world, America, like you if you ever did something great, was to get us to believe that we're less than. Right.
Yeah. That's an absolute. So the last question is showing vulnerability, power, love, or both?
Both.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Vulnerability is there is no love. There is no genuine love. There's no real love. There's no two-way giving back and forth of love without you being vulnerable.
Nope.
You revealing your truth, the things that throw you off, the things that hurt, the things that got you upset, being able to share why you feel the way you feel. It's completely power giving and full of love experiencing.
Yes.
There's no way that a person could deeply connect with you without you being vulnerable. There's no way that a person can actually serve the deeper parts of you without you being vulnerable, without them knowing what is actually hurting you. People can't show up for you if you haven't been vulnerable.
Right. Because they don't know.
They don't know. You don't know. That Smokey Robinson song, Tears of a Clown. I lived that for so many years.
Right.
Happy, big, giant smile. Hey. But inside, I was dying.
Right.
Dying, loneliness, not feeling good about myself regarding life and things not working out. Why hasn't this big break? Why didn't this work out? Beating yourself up. How about you? What do you think?
I would just like to add, because you hit up most of the points. Stop worrying about when you're being vulnerable, how the other person accepts your vulnerability. Your vulnerability frees you. Your vulnerability gives information to the other person. So if the other person turns around and does not accept your vulnerability, just the way somebody doesn't accept your apology, that's their problem. That's not your problem.
Right. Well, you got to understand that you can be at the place that you're doing the work. Right. And now you're in relationships and the other person didn't sign on for the same thing that you signed on for. You decided to do the work. Doesn't mean that their head and their mindset is at the place of doing the work and understanding. So you being vulnerable is just you doing it for yourself, giving them the opportunity. You are not looking for their response, which is super hard to do. You're not looking for their response. You're saying, for all these years, I've been doing it, all these weeks, all these months, I've been doing it this way, but here's my truth. Now, it's going to take time for you to catch on to that and know how to operate under this new set of rules that I'm now presenting. But that's the wonderful thing about doing the work. Now you show up from the beginning in your truth, and you know how to operate from that place of truth.
Right. And you being vulnerable allows the person that you're being vulnerable to you'll be able to gauge if they even need to be around you.
Yeah.
Be able to gauge, like you'll be able to be like, this person's not really accepting or giving me access to anything. I'm just giving and giving and giving, and they're not changing. They're not listening. They can't hear me. Love you. I'm gonna listen. Love you, but I'm gonna stand over there to do it.
Oh yeah. I mean, you people tell you their truth, meaning that I can think about going through discussions with people, and all they're pointing out are the things that they found that you did wrong. But at no time for the discussion, they're saying sorry for the parts that they played wrong.
Right.
You're like, none of this is you. None of this is you. None of it.
Right.
None of it. None of this is you. Okay. Okay. All right. If you say so. If you say so. Because I could just wash my hands of it. Like, okay, then I'll just move on.
Right.
Now, is it easy to move on? Oh no, because when your heart's involved, you want elements of that. You want it to stay. You want it to remain. You want the beauty that once was to become a possibility. But understand this: a mind stretched can never return back to the shape that it was.
That's right.
You know too much information. You can never go back to those epic feelings because you know too much now. But what you can do is build an environment where new epic things can take place. But to go back to what it used to be, no longer available. You know too much. You both know too much.
Exactly. So before we close this out, right, I would like to kind of have anybody listening from the red and blue community, blue pill community, got a couple of things I want to say to you guys, right? you've been hurt, and by your dialogue, we all know that you've been hurt. The first thing you have to understand is when you blame women for the destruction of our communities, and women have to show up a certain way for you and your abilities, for you to feel safe, you are telling us all how weak you are. I'll say that again. You're telling us all how weak you are because it takes somebody who is strong in their character and understand who they are to deal with somebody else's hurts, right? The saying "it takes a village" is a universal thing. So if you're mad at a woman because she's had a few children outside of wedlock and she's done all these things, and you're blaming her for doing that when she was looking for love and somebody tricked her into doing something, and now this is her pattern, your job as a man is to show what manhood looks like. That's your job. Now, the whole vulnerability thing that people don't have to follow you, that's the same thing with her. She doesn't have to follow you. But as long as you show up as the man that you're supposed to be, she will recognize it. They will recognize it. And I say this all the time. I think it's one of the most potent things that's ever been given to me. When the men go crazy, the women and children are soon to follow. So whatever's going on in the world that our community is not strong, it's our fault. Because we allowed it to go to where it needs to be. So stop all this blaming women for not dressing the way you want them to dress, for not being who you want them to be. Stop liking all the pictures with the booty, with the chicks with their booties out. Stop doing all that stuff, right? When you show up the way you need to show up, things will change. It's a work in progress. And like I've said this whole entire time, if you're hurt, say you're hurt. Say you're hurt. Go find somebody to sit down and talk to. That's my landing point, Rick.
Yeah. You know, they're in relationship, guys, girls, people. There are answers out here. Like you keep remaining in this relationship that isn't fully serving you, or you're not doing it right because you're not getting the results that you're expecting. Right. There's another human being on the other side. Yes. If it's just you taking care of you, of course, it's easier to get the results that you desire because you're not kicking yourself but not working hard enough to get the results when it's just you and you. But when you're dealing with another human, they are not always going to respond the way you think because they are not you. They're not you, so they're not going to respond and think or to be the things that you have done and things that you've been through that shaped you to take care of that situation in a different way. No. Stop going through a situation by yourself and not tell someone. That's the greatest thing. The greatest gift you can give to anyone that surrounds you is your own personal business.
That's right.
Because that which is meant for you can never be denied you. So people knowing your business isn't going to hinder you from accomplishing that which God has for you.
That's right.
You often will get upset because you're like, oh, I can't tell this. I'll seem weak. Weak to who? Another human being? Weak to who? Weak to who? Show me who's the strong one in this. Who? Right. Weak to who? Right. And if they think you're a punk, what does that have to do with your everyday living? What does that have to do? If these people think you this, no, who cares? Now, if you're out there in these streets and you need to stay with that cred, that might be a different story. Right. But we're simply talking about relationships that will actually matter to your heart posture.
Right. Exactly.
That stuff, people need to know what you're going through. You need to ask questions. You need to have a therapist. You need to have, even just start off with the basics, a life coach, someone that you can just say your stuff out loud to and take it from there. I'll land my plane.
All right, cool. So like I said before, like I promised before at the beginning of the show, you gotta go to the website. Hold on, let me get the banner. Where's the banner? Where's the banner? There it is. There it is. Follow him on Relationship Gumbo on Instagram. The website is right there. Everything has been changed. This dude is doing his damn thing. He is doing his thing. So this Zoom conversation, if you've ever heard him talk about his relationship stories, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Will you be entertained? Will you be enlightened? Will you be moved? Absolutely. And I believe he's going to also allow the people that's on the Zoom to share theirs as well. So get in there, sign up 29th, 8 o'clock, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see you guys there. Derek is an amazing, amazing man. Amazing dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm definitely a true fan of his, boy.
Right. Absolutely. Across the board. Across the board. So before we, as we sail up out of here tonight, we want to say thank you for listening. Please, next week, bring your +5. Next week, topic is going to be that the team doesn't know. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. No more.
I won't be here. But I know you'll handle your business.
That's right, bro. We'll handle our business. We handle our business. Absolutely. And you do what you do in Carnival. Take a lot of pictures. Make us exciting for you. Absolutely. So, signing off. We appreciate you. Next week, bring your +5s. We love you. Signing out.